Rooftoppers Chapter 19, Part 1. Sophie slept most of the next day and woke in her own bed to find it was raining. It rose to a storm in the night. Sophie counted the seconds between lightning and thunder. 1, 2, and then boom! She did not dare go out on the rooftop. The next day was no better. Charles trudged out in an adequate borrowed raincoat to look for lawyers. "I'll keep lookout if you'll let me use your window," Sophie told him. "Come back soon, all right? And don't go get spotted." She rubbed his sleeve, which was too short for by an inch. "I won't. And you, Sophie, make sure you don't leave this room," said Charles, "unless you absolutely have to. If you need to pee, use a chamber pot. I don't want the other guests to see you." So all day Sophie sat by Charles's window with a cup of cocoa in her lap and kept lookout. She was watching for policemen and for cello players. Almost nobody went by, and those who did were hidden by umbrellas. She strained her ears for cello music until her head roared and she heard requiems behind every horse and cart. Every few minutes she crossed and uncrossed her fingers. The cup of cocoa grew a skin and then grew cold. Sophie did not notice. The rain did not stop. When Sophie went to bed, the rain was torrential. She woke again, though, to hear the clock striking 2 and the downpour slowed to a drizzle. The clouds were blowing across the moon, and the moonlight flashed on and off inside her room, like Morse code. Sophie shoved back her covers and jumped up. She felt as awake as day. She pulled on her stockings, and over them her trousers and 2 jerseys. Then she cut the tips off the stockings and rolled them back to expose her toes. She clambered out of her window, leaving it open, dripping, onto the bed. Matteo was sitting cross-legged by his fire, leaning against the largest chimney stack. He had a knife in one hand and something pinkish in the other. It looked suspiciously like a skinned cat. Sophie whistled and he dropped whatever it was into the embers and ran to fetch her across the tightrope. When they reached the fire, the animal was smoking. Matteo swore. "Ugh, rat is never delicious, but burnt rat is disgusting." "What's rat like?" Matteo sat and pulled her down beside him. "Sit. I didn't think you'd come. In the rain. It's like hedgehog." "I've never had a hedgehog either." "Have you eaten rabbit?" He threw a sack over her knees and pulled up one over her shoulders. "Yes, I've had rabbit." The sack was wet, but Sophie did not say so. His sack, she could see, was wetter. "Well, it's not like rabbit, but it's not like rabbit. Here, you can try it." Sophie took it, sniffed it. It did not smell inspiring. Matteo said, Leave some for me, though. More than half. I'm bigger." "Is this breakfast?" she asked him. "Or dinner?" "This is lunch. I had breakfast when I woke up." "Sort of." "When was that?" Sophie nibbled at the rat's thigh. The rat tasted of charcoal and horsetails. She swallowed with an effort. "It's not bad," she said. "Here, though, it's yours." "I don't know, sunset, so about 9 o'clock. Matteo tore at the rat with his teeth. "I have supper at 5 o'clock in the morning, if there is any supper." "Why wouldn't there be?" He shrugged. "It's been a bad week for food." His face up close was tight-pulled and thin, and he said, "I'm tired. Perhaps you'd better not stay long." "I'm so sorry," Sophie cursed inwardly. "I should have thought to bring food." She had forgotten that he might be hungry. "I didn't realize. But, Matteo, please let me stay. I need to be up here to listen." Her skin was burning. It always did when she thought of her mother. "Please." "Fine." Matteo flopped onto his back and stared up at the stars. "I'm too hungry to talk, though." "Why is it worse than usual?" "Why?" He half sat and stared at her incredulously. The rain, obviously." Sophie lay down a little apart in the moonlight. Matteo's face was the color of old snow. "Does the rain make hunting harder?" she said. "Yes, the birds go and shelter in the station, and the rain makes people keep their windows shut at night. There's nothing you can pick up from the windowsills. What have you had to eat?" "Seagull on Tuesday. It got blown in by the storm. It was almost dead anyway. A blue tit for breakfast. I was sorry about that. I quite like them alive. I mean, I don't particularly like to eat them, and there's not enough meat on them to make it worth plucking them." Sophie couldn't help feeling awed. Was that all? In 3 days? Oui? Oh, no? I had a candy cane on Sunday. "Anastasia and Safi left it for me on the oak tree by the opera. I think it was meant for me. If not, it's not my problem." Sophie turned onto her stomach. "Who are they?" "Anastasia and what's the second name?" His face flicked to blank. "Nobody. Do you have any food in your pockets, maybe?" "I don't think so." Sophie fished in her trousers. "No, wait, I have raisins. I was carrying them for the birds, actually, but you'd better have them." "Yes," said Matteo, "I had better. I'm hungry. Anyway, I'd just eat the birds once they'd eaten the raisins, so it's just skipping a step. What else?" Sophie scrabbled deeper. Pockets, she thought. Why were trousers so superior to skirts? Yes! She pulled out a sticky hand. Here, there's some chocolate. It might be quite old, though, and it melted and got mixed up with my trousers, but I think it should be all right. Good, give it to me. Matteo did not, as she expected, cram it all into his mouth. Instead, he took a pan from the fire and dropped the chocolate into it. He stirred with a whittled stick. Chocolate is best cooked. It makes you feel like there's more of it, he said. He tipped the raisins into the chocolate. There, that smells good. The scent of melted chocolate was spreading over the rooftop. Matteo's body unwound in a few inches. For the first time that evening, he smiled. See, if you can bring some food next time you come, he said. It's easier up here when you're full.